What's it like being here at SMU and playing in this?
This is my first time seeing this new facility here. I've been to SMU and played in years past, but not since they redid this, and this is spectacular. What a beautiful facility it is.
Yeah, I'm spoiled. I've actually been here, I think, 3 separate times for Dirk's event. He does a tennis event every summer, so I've seen it. I was telling Jim on the way over in the car how impressive it is and what a great job they've done here. So it's always fun. You know, you want to be able to show a facility off, especially on a rainy day like today. All of a sudden, there's a great indoor option. You know, so it's for us, it's like insurance policy, right? So it's fantastic to have, and it's very impressive.
Jim, obviously InsideOut is your company. You all are putting on this event and all these other Oracle Pro Series events. What's kind of the goal when you're doing starting this series and trying to get more pro tennis in America?
Sure. Well, this is Oracle's vision. This is Mark Hurd, the CEO, who sadly just passed away last week. This is his vision to try and give American-based players more professional playing opportunities, and that's happening. We're doing 6 of these events throughout the U.S. this fall. There will be over 20 of these type of events next year. So that's a big increase in playing chances for our players that are trying to make that transition from junior and college tennis up to the top tier pro ranks. So to have a chance to stay home, to not have to travel overseas is massive. So I think we're going to see significant impact in a few years' time from these new playing opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I can only echo. It's on my tour. I go what Jim said.
It's not our tour either. It's Oracle's tour.
Yeah, exactly. It is Oracle's tour, and I know we were all disappointed to see the news of Mr. Hurd. I unfortunately only got to meet him one time, but you know, these events are something we're going to look back on. And that'll be a huge part of his tennis legacy is being kind of the brain power behind investing in the ground level of the pro tours. And you know, I've worked with InsideOut for a long time. Being a part of different events like this, and it's a great match. The two together would do great things.
Obviously, you guys had a lot of success. What was the most rewarding part of your careers?
I'll let you lead off.
Oh, I'm not sure. It's tough to like name something. I think you look back, and you know, for me, the most rewarding part was looking back, and you know, I won some, and I failed spectacularly on the biggest stages sometimes, but I never went to sleep thinking that I wasn't prepared or I didn't do something that would have helped to change a result. You know, I like to think that I controlled the controllables, and so looking back now, that's rewarding. And I think also you just point to the relationships made. You know, Jim was one of the nicest guys to me. I remember we played in Boise, Idaho in the year 2000, and little did I know at the time that's the start of a friendship that's gone on 20 years now. So I think that's a very rewarding part of everything too.
Yeah, I think what Andy hits on first and second are just 2 key elements. You walk away from a career on the ATP Tour with a lot of great memories if you're lucky to be able to be out there for the length of time that we were. You walk away with a lot of great friendships, people that you shared locker rooms with and airplane rides with for a big part of your life. So those friendships and those memories are really special, and the ability to sleep very well at night, like Andy does, like I'm able to, knowing that we were professional, that we didn't miss our opportunities, we took them. And sure, there were some highs, sure, there were some lows, but neither Andy or I will ever have to wonder how good we could be. We found out, we can look back at the record books and see.
So obviously you all were both, you know, key players for the U.S. and Davis Cup. You were the captain for a long time, Jim. What are your thoughts on the new Davis Cup format with the finals coming up? How do you think the U.S. team will do?
I'm really interested to see how this new format is going to be received by the players and the fans. It's something new. Davis Cup, I think, has needed a bit of a jolt to kind of re-energize it, and I'm hopeful that this will eventually be a good thing for Davis Cup. And you know, our team is going to have a shot with this new format. I think it increases the chances for the American squad to go deep because it places emphasis on quick strike tennis, best of 3 sets, doubles is a big factor. So it plays into a lot of our strengths, especially when you factor in that we're playing in Madrid in the finals, which is at altitude. That's a little quicker than the sea level. And our team typically likes to play pretty offensive-minded tennis these days.
Yeah, for me, I feel like everyone's in a rush to decide whether or not they like it, and we haven't even seen it. So, you know, I think there is some pressure from some other team events now. And so I think Davis Cup had its hand maybe forced a little bit. So it's certainly not the Davis Cup that we kind of loved throughout our lives. But listen, it's different, doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but I think we should probably wait and actually watch it before we make absolute decisions about it.
Having Coco here, have you guys spent any time with her? What are your thoughts on her and her success this year?
I just met Coco an hour ago, but I've certainly watched her, and the tennis is very obvious. I mean, there's a lot of prospects that can have a good result, and I can still sit back and say, well, they're going to need to fix this if they want to make that the new normal. I think we've kind of seen the new normal for Coco Gauff. I think she's that good. I think the hype is warranted. Also, watching her speak and the way she kind of goes through, whether it's media interviews, different press obligations, how humble she is, and she just gets down and competes, makes me realize how idiotic I was at 15 years old. I've enjoyed watching her away from the court also, and kind of how she's handled things. I've been very impressed.
I got to play with Coco about a year ago in December. Played an exhibition down in Florida where we were doubles partners in mixed doubles. And she was so impressive in the way that she handled herself, as Andy's mentioned, with people her own age and with people 4 times her age in some cases. She's very comfortable in her own skin, and that's something that can go a long way in a world where you're just constantly moving to different cities, different hotels. She seems to have a really good support system around her as well, and that will be critical for her going forward. So many of the pieces are in place for her, and she's already cleared so many hurdles already that are challenging for young players. Playing on the biggest courts for the first time, check. She's done that at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. So she's well on her way to doing some great things if she stays healthy and if she keeps doing things the way that she's been doing, keeps it process-based. And I have no reason to doubt that will be the case with her.
Y'all are two of the finest kind of analysts' voices in tennis. What are your thoughts on Serena's struggles in the Grand Slam finals since her comeback? Do you think she's going to be able to get that 24th major in 2020? What do you think she needs to do to make those adjustments?
Her game's definitely there. You don't make 4 finals since having a challenging childbirth if you're not capable of winning, and we know she's one of the game's greatest champions, period. She's clearly also putting a lot of pressure on herself. As you watch her play, she seems to feel the weight of the moment, and that's natural also. She's playing for pieces of history that Andy and I couldn't imagine. It wasn't for us to kind of say what that feels like. But for me, what's been most notable is just there's a little extra tension. She doesn't move as freely. She doesn't serve as well in those moments. So the things that she relies on are not quite there the same way they were in the semis and the quarters and the build-up. That's certainly something she can overcome. She's done in the past, and I think she'll get it done eventually if she can stay healthy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jim, and it also proves why sports is the best reality show. There's no script involved. You can be Serena Williams, who is, the short list of best of all time, just in general, but then also in the biggest matches. And there's nothing given in tennis. You have to prove yourself day after day after day, and just because she is Serena doesn't mean that whoever she's facing in the final is going to kind of roll over. And you do have to do it, and you're constantly kind of creating and surpassing new mental hurdles. And but there's no reason to think that she can't get it done in 2020.
What are your thoughts on the WTA's age eligibility rule that Coco's having to deal with right now? Obviously, she can't play a lot because she's just 15. Do you think that's unfair because she's clearly shown that she can play at the highest level?
It's tough. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I knew all of the intricacies, and I'm not in the rooms when those decisions are made. On the flip side, I was someone who had success very early in my career, and probably my best years were early in my career, not 15, but I guess it's all relative. You look at someone like Martina Hingis, who won 3 slams when she was 16. That matters. So, I can certainly appreciate her wanting to get out there and show what she can do on a more regular basis. And but not everyone has the support system that Coco seemingly has. So I'm sure there were best interests at heart when this rule was made. But me, like everyone else, I want to see her get out there and do it more often.
Yeah, and one other thing that is certainly very noticeable these days is how successful players are well into their 30s. It was more of a rarity. In the past, you had people like Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova playing deep into their 30s at high levels. But more frequently, some of our greater champions, players like Steffi Graf, for example, retired a lot earlier than that. So there was a little bit, maybe more of an emphasis on trying to get a lot of matches and wins early on. I don't know that that's necessarily quite as much of a focus now that we see how long the road can be for these players. Coco is managed by the same management company as Roger Federer, and they've done a really wonderful job, I'm sure led by Roger, at playing for longevity. And I expect that they'll also schedule her to play something that gives her breaks and chances to be fresh and to peak at the right times. I mean, if we can have Coco Gauff at 36, 37 years old still playing some of her best tennis, I think that's a good trade-off for missing an extra 3 to 4 tournaments when she's 15, 16 years old a year.
Cool.
Okay.